Alright guys, Supreme Kami here, and today we are going to be taking a look at the 1 to 144 scale Gundam Zabanya Final Battle Type. So this is what we are looking at, so not quite your full loadout for the Zabanya, because I do want to take a look from the beginning and then work our way up to have everything equipped, doing the articulation, and then just talking about like some good and bad about this overall unit, because this is a premium Bandai kit, and in terms of just a little bit of a brief history, this kit right here is actually 10 years old already. I took a look at all these runner, and all of them are pretty much dated back to 2010. So that leads me to talking about some of the new plates that were included with this unit. As for 3 new plates that were included with the Final Battle types, you have your F1 plate like this, you have a F2 plate that looks like this, and then last but not least we have a F3 plate that looks like this. F3 plates basically have a new backpack connector piece that you have 2 holes that you can plug into your new GN horse bit connector pieces, so that's what they're for. So the original one does not have that plug-in or that polycap right there. So in terms of what the other new pieces are, going to be these 2 right here. So these are pretty much going to be your connector pieces to the GN horse bit. You do have a swivel like that can move out like that, but you probably will not go out that far, so you might probably go up to this, and that's pretty much it. And then you also do have like a hinge that goes up like that, and then just move down like that for just for your posing and that. And then you also do have like a spinning portion right here that you can rotate your GN horse bit as well. And then in terms of the last new things that we have gotten are going to be 4 pairs of these, or just 4 of these GN rifle bits too. So we have 4 of these over here just for for posing in a way, because they also do have like a action-based connector piece that you can plug in. Unfortunately, I do not have that specific action-based or that specific plug, so unfortunately I will not be able to display that in its full extent. So that's pretty much the unfortunate factor. In terms of these over here, they do have pretty much the same detail as the one that are like the actual rifles over here. The only thing that you're missing is going to be that clear pieces over there, and then the scope is not going to be anything that's movable, and then you do not have the handle that you can actually hold it on the Zabanya soap. So that's pretty much it in terms of the new plate and new accessory that came with this guy here. Alright, so let's actually move on to some articulation for this guy here. So let's actually start off the head. So you can obviously do a 360-degree spin with the head, no problem. If I can get the polycap to cooperate with me here. Okay, so 360 degrees, and then you can also do a good back and forth movement like that, so not too bad. And then in terms of the actual arm, because we did include these 2 new addition of the GN horse bit, they are going to significantly neuter how good the movement is. So in terms of, let's say you want to move up like that, sorry, you just can't, because you are pretty much going to be hindered by this portion of it. So if you do want to move it out like so, you do have to kind of have to move up like this. Like you will have to move up like that first, and then you can kind of get a good spin. So that's that. So there's obviously going to be ways to move around that, but it is going to be a little bit of a hassle. So you can obviously still get your good range of just rotation like that. In terms of the actual arm, because it is going to be on that good old polycap joint, you can kind of swing out like that, so that's not too bad. Actual arm itself, you can obviously rotate just like that, no problem. Bench, you can kind of get a good, I want to say like 100 degrees, so not too much, not too bad. Coming down to the actual wrist itself, so it's going to be able to move up and down like that. And then last but not least, in terms of the wrist or the arm or the actual hand itself, you can obviously do a good spin like that, and then get a good wiggle in like that as well. Down to the actual waist section, you can obviously get a good abdominal bend like that. So in terms of the side profile view, this is what you're getting. And then from a side to side, you can obviously do a good chunks of abdominal crunch as well, so not too bad. In terms of the waist, let's start off with the actual front skirt. So front skirt can obviously go up like so. You can get like a full 45-degree up like that. So you can actually separate them if you want, but I'm just not doing it for the time being. So that's that. In terms of the side skirt, you can obviously move up like so you can get a pretty good 45-degree that will allow your leg to just kind of go side to side like that. Back skirt, you can't really move anything. It's pretty much a stationary, so it's not gonna go anywhere. So that's that. Alright, so in terms of the front kit, you can definitely get up to this. but they're gonna hit each other, so probably not that much. In terms of the actual leg bend, you can get a pretty good range, like this much, so that's pretty good. Definitely very impressive. And then moving down to the actual ankle section, whoops, I'm just gonna let that fall for now. Not gonna pick that up. And then in terms of the front skirt, or not the front skirt, the leg guard can obviously go up like this as well, so pretty good movement as well. And then in terms of the actual ankle or the leg itself, you can go like this, and then front and back like that. There's not going to be any feet bent down here in this section. It's just pretty much like a one piece it, and that's pretty much it. And then last but not least, to go over in terms of just the leg, the waist portion of it, you do have your connector pieces to the GN hoist of it, so they do rotate like so. You can get a pretty good 360 degree spin, so that's pretty good. There's also going to be a place where you can plug in for a more stability looking. So there's going to be at point 1 like that, so you're not going to go anywhere. And they can move that ever so slightly to get your point number 2, so not going to move anywhere. And then moving over to point number 3 like so. So yeah, they do offer a pretty good stability for your GN horse a bit. They do, because they do get heavy at time to time, and then they'll fall on you ever so slightly as well. But I took them off, so you won't see them falling. And then in terms of the actual connector point, you can get a good spin like that. What I had them kind of like this originally, but you can just kind of pull them out a little bit, and then you can get your full range of movement like that. And then you can also kind of get like a rocky movement as well, because obviously it is going to be on a point joint, so you do have a pretty good range of that nature. As for the armament, we obviously do have a pair of the signature GN rifle bit too. So they come in a pair like this, so these are going to be the ones that you can actually put onto the actual unit. So let's talk about the actual GN rifle bit too. So this is the rifle form. You can actually take out the front portion and make this like the actual pistol. So the pistol looks like that. This one does actually look a lot more bigger than the, let's say, the one that is featured in the Kingdom. So in terms of the actual scope, it is really loose. So in terms of pulling it, like actually opening up the scope, do proceed with caution. And then you can obviously equip it like just the actual pistol, or you can just combine it like this to make it the actual rifle bits too. What you can do after that, you can obviously plug it into your arm like so, no problem. You do have like a notch like this right here, so you're gonna see like a little notch like that. So if you plug it in, it feels unnatural in a way, because like you see like a big gap. Like look at that. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's gonna be like a gap that looks like that. So that's gonna be unfortunate in my opinion, because what these do, so the next gimmick of this guy here, you can actually take out the front bit of the rifle like that, take that off, and then what you can do after that, you see that you have some open slot from the actual horse bit. So what you can do after that, you're just gonna drop it in like that. So pretty much recreating what you can do from the actual movie itself. So that's gonna be pretty much it. But not only that, because we do have 4 pairs of these over here, or 2 pairs of you, how you want to call it. So we do have these over here, the non-posable one. So you can obviously do the same thing. So you want to pop all the front portion of the rifle bit, and then what you want to do with these additional pieces, throw them in a Ziploc bag, because you will probably not want to lose them anywhere. So what you want to do after that, just gonna drop it in like so. Come on, drop it in like that. They do have kind of like a tight fit compared to the actual usable one. So let's drop another one like so. Okay, and then you can also drop 2 more pairs from the on the other side as well. So in terms of the armament right there, that is pretty much what you can do with them. So now let's actually go over to some special feature from this Zabanya here. So in terms of the actual head part, you can actually move the scope like this. So you can slide this piece up like that, and then in terms of the actual antenna, you can actually drop it down like so. So I don't know if you guys can kind of see that, but in terms of the overall headpiece now, or the actual antenna, it is actually covering the eyes. So this part of it actually looks pretty cool, and definitely very much reminiscent to the Kingdom and then the Dynamis as well. So definitely love that part. So in terms of the chest gravity, you can open up these missile pod like so, but I would definitely say they do not have the strongest connection point ever, because they pretty much rely on slotting in between those right there. So just try your best. if you guys are trying to post this right here, try your best and trying to get the fresh right, because if not, chances are they're just not gonna stay in place. So this one not really all that well, but this one is somewhat pretty decent. So they can just open up like so, in terms of arm section, you can open up these slots here and review kind of like a camera, I think. Essentially the arm and then the leg supposedly should have it open as well, but unfortunately this version of the high grade, or just any of the high grade of the Zabanya, does not have that feature, and unfortunately only the arm has it. So they actually reviewed kind of like a camera in a way, like, because like when you see the Awakening of the 12 Blazer, all these pants are like these section and then down right here actually open up to review like a camera like that. So I guess they're more or less for better position, or just for a wide range of attacks that you don't really need any sort of aiming, because all these lenses are seeing it for lock on already. So let me see if I can plug them in. They do have kind of like a good solid connection, and they are pretty much hard to drop them down. All right, so now they are in place, but in terms of this right here, this is where the problem comes in, because now they cannot really come back to like where they need to be, like their original spot. So they're just gonna be dangling just a little bit back, chilling like that. So kind of unfortunate that they designed it like that. Moving over to the leg now, so this is probably the last place that you will see some open up stuff. So it's gonna be some of your missile pod right there as well. So you guys can see that it does have some pretty nice missile kind of engraved in the actual part. So it's gonna go like so. And then same thing for this part, and then that is going to be pretty much it in terms of your actual gimmicks. So the last thing to actually go over does involve two of the shield bits over here, or the horse bit. So I actually did have to end up pulling both sides of one of these individual one to make them kind of pairing to have these whole line up. So what you can do now, you can take the actual connector piece from the actual A plate and just kind of just pair them up like so. So they should connect really good like so. So this is going to be like, you know, the actual blocking aspect of it. So what you want to do now, if you guys do own the high grade Kingdom, the normal version, or let's say the GNHW/R, it's going to come with a base like that. And then what you can do now, you can actually connect it to here. So now you can have yourself kind of like a, you know, like the actual horse a bit just deploying like so. So in terms of this over here, it is a little bit front heavy, so it's just gonna flop like this if I don't catch it. So not really the best mechanic. I don't know why they couldn't include anything better than this, but this is probably the best we can do. But that's pretty much sums up all of the kind of like, you can say, extra gimmick that you can find on this overall unit. So as for my conclusion, let's talk about bads and good about this overall kit. So let me actually start things out with the bad portion. I think my number one biggest rant about this overall unit is the fact that this unit itself relies on so many stickers. So I'm gonna probably leave an image of the actual sticker sheet. Yeah, like there's so many portions of the kit that needs sticker attention, which is like, what's going on? This is like a premium meta kit that's coming out as a 2021 edition. Like, could they not do anything about that? Especially if you talk about the shoulder, and then you're gonna talk about like the actual arm section. You have a lot of gray sticker that needs to be applied, which is like pretty much not acceptable, right? And there's got to be a little bit more on the leg portion as well. Just a few minor gray sticker that you can actually apply onto that. And then I guess my next point of view is like the fact that there's so many features on this kit that is just kind of omitted in a way. Yes, they do give you a few of those, you know, open missile pod, but there's still a ton that they could actually add in these more. What I would have liked them to do is like they could just potentially add in like a plate or two just to kind of recreate those actually open up, you know, missile pod. They don't have to be, you know, having like an actual hinge that open, you can just open it, right? They could have simply have it like a fixed, like a molded, you know, open missile for every section, especially if you talk about the arm section, and then you have a little bit more on the actual front skirt, and then you also have a little bit more down at the knee section as well. So those are going to be some details that they can potentially add, and not to mention that there's also going to be like a two cameras or two scope that they could potentially add for the leg section as well, which they did not. So that's pretty much like a bummer. And then the last thing I do want to talk about in terms of the back portion is the fact that those GN horse bit are so loose from the original one, like the one like those 5 per side. Like I don't know, is that only mine, but they came out as really loose, you know, compared to the new edition, like those new horse bit that is on the actual shoulder. They come as like they actually come with a very tight connection that I was like, yep, that is very secure. So I don't feel like they're gonna go anywhere. So in terms of the good part, I'll definitely say for anyone that enjoys the overall Zabanya line, you know, the Kiridim, Dynamis, I would definitely say you guys will find a good attraction with this overall unit, just because this is like the final unit that Logan is going to be piloting. This thing is loaded with 14 horse bit. Keep that in mind. You're loaded with 14 horse bit, so you can obviously recreate a lot of those good poses from the actual anime, which obviously in this one, not really, because you would probably need 14 in the original one. We only have 6 in the original one, so you'll probably have to buy an additional one to kind of get your extra pairing. But nonetheless, with the extra, what is it, those GN Rock Whip is 2, like the one that is the one that is not usable, those are, you know, more or less replaceable. Those are actually pretty good, so definitely props to them for giving out 4 of them. I wish that they could have been more, but I think 4 is definitely a good playset, you know, that they're offering. Keep that in mind. If you're not going to be displaying them, they're probably going to be in your Ziploc bag anyway. But with that being said, that is going to be pretty much in terms of the Zabanya Final Battle Type review. So I will be doing a paint up version of it because I'll still probably be doing like an actual, like a standalone build video for this overall guy, and then I'll be having like the actual how is it looks like, you know, before, just like a straight up build, and then how is it after adding in a lot more of the details, because as you guys can see, there are so many areas that you can potentially draw in some, you know, good gray color and gray paints as well. So that being said, that is going to be pretty much it, and then I will be catching you all on the next one.